Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into one of Japan's most exclusive cars. But this is so much more than a story about luxury. This is about a hugely ambitious strategy to sell the very idea of Japan to the entire world. And it all starts right here with this emblem, the Ho-Oh, or the Phoenix. It represents a philosophy that says this isn't just a car you go out and buy. No, it's a responsibility you're given, a piece of culture that's entrusted with you. So that brings us to the billion-dollar question facing Toyota, right? How on earth do you take this ultra-luxury car, a vehicle that is just steeped in a half-century of Japanese tradition, and successfully launch it on the global stage? Okay, so first things first. To really get this strategy, you've got to understand the car itself. For more than 50 years, the Century has been Japan's #1 chauffeur car. I mean, this is the exclusive ride for emperors, for dignitaries, and for the biggest titans of industry. You see, its purpose is incredibly focused, to provide the absolute ultimate in quiet comfort. It's basically a physical embodiment of the Japanese spirit of omotenashi, or this idea of profound hospitality, where every single detail is designed to anticipate the passenger's every need. The car is, and this is no exaggeration, a rolling showcase of takumi, or master craftsmanship. We're talking about artisans who have dedicated their entire lives to their craft, perfecting everything from the paint that looks like a flawless mirror to the hand-engraved emblem. And get this, these details aren't just for show. They are packed with Japanese cultural history. For instance, that intricate grille pattern, it's based on traditional kumiko woodworking. And that single, impossibly crisp line running down the side? That's a design technique that goes all the way back to the Heian period, the age of imperial courts. So after 50 years of being this absolute icon just within Japan, Toyota is making a huge move. They're launching the Century globally, and they're putting it head-to-head with those legendary European brands that have, let's be honest, dominated the ultra-luxury market for decades. So you gotta ask, how can it possibly compete? In a world of flashy logos and just, aggressive styling, how can a car that's built on a foundation of subtlety even get noticed? Well, the answer is, they're not even gonna try to play their game. The strategy is to do something completely different. Their whole strategy hinges on weaponizing a uniquely Japanese value, a concept that the brand is calling quiet power. And this quote from their strategy really says it all. The goal is not to be the flashiest or the loudest car on the block. The goal is to define what Japanese luxury is through elegance and restraint, through what they call the beauty of subtraction. And they actually saw this idea play out in real life a few years back, when a photo of the Saudi crown prince meeting the Japanese emperor just went viral. The world wasn't talking about all the gold and wealth. They were captivated by the stunningly minimalist room, praising its humility and its beauty. That feeling, that is the very essence of this entire strategy. So how do you communicate this idea of quiet power to the rest of the world? Well, this is where things get really, really interesting, because the answer is completely unexpected, and it all revolves around Japan's most powerful cultural export. Okay, just look at this. On one hand, the target buyer, we're talking royalty, billionaires, heads of state, but the arena where they're going to build this brand's mystique, global anime and Japanese pop culture conventions. Yes, you heard that right. This is all built on this really fascinating modern business philosophy called trade follows anime. The idea is actually pretty simple. When millions and millions of people around the world fall in love with a country's pop culture, like anime and manga, they develop this deep admiration for that country's craftsmanship and its products. The love for the culture comes first. And to pull this off, they're tapping into an incredible on-the-ground network. A key player here is a guy named Jimmy, who has a presence at nearly 300 anime events and Japan festivals all over the world every single year. He's directly connecting with the fans who absolutely adore Japanese culture. So this whole strategy is really being driven by this cultural power trio. You've got Jimmy running the ground game with his massive network of 300 events. Then you have Ivy. She's a super influencer, a celebrity guest at events in over 20 countries, but she's also a pro who coordinates other global influencers for huge marketing campaigns. And finally, there's Koji Iwasaki, a cultural advisor who's been attending these events for nearly 30 years and just gets what parts of Japanese culture will connect with a global audience. Okay, so let's be super clear about something. They are not trying to sell a $250,000 car next to a booth selling manga. That's not the point. The real goal is to embed the Century into the cultural imagination, to plant a seed of aspiration. The idea is that for millions of people who love Japan, this car becomes the ultimate symbol of that passion. And all of this crazy, unconventional approach, it brings us to the final and honestly the most important piece of the entire puzzle. This isn't just about marketing a car anymore. This is about cultural diplomacy. Because at the end of the day, Toyota isn't really selling a car here. They're selling an idea of Japan. The Century is being positioned as a tangible piece of Japan pride that you can actually go out and own. The whole point is to make this car the ultimate prize, the top of the mountain for anyone who admires Japanese culture. It doesn't matter if they first discovered that passion in a comic book or during a multi-billion-dollar business deal. That's why the brand's message is so simple, so powerful, and so direct. It's transforming a vehicle into an emblem of national identity, ready for the world stage. It's a real statement of confidence. So this incredibly bold strategy, it leaves us with one last big thought. By fusing its deep, authentic cultural roots with the massive global power of modern pop culture, can a car truly become one of its nation's greatest and most powerful ambassadors?